8 ways your company isn't being straight with you. The key to winning any game, especially the one called your career, is knowing what the real rules are. You might say, what do you mean by real workplace rules? These are rules, policies, value statements, and goals that get communicated to you by your company. At the same time, they are often willfully broken or ignored when convenient by the very same company or people encouraging you to believe or follow them. So even if you metaphorically are on the field at your job, you're not playing with all the equipment and advantages others who know the rules have. That's why it's important. So let's look at some of the policies corporate America expects of you and the reality of how things are really done. 1. We're hiring. In what has become the job market's version of Lucy and the football, companies post jobs on LinkedIn and other sites with no intention of finding or hiring a candidate. Or an internal candidate has been picked, and the job posting you see is just a formality. You might know them as ghost jobs. Unreal. But what is real are millions of people jumping through job portal hoops to respond. In fact, one study found 30% of jobs posted on LinkedIn are ghost jobs and could be 40% across all job platforms. Quick tip. To validate ghost jobs, check the employer's own website or network to find a contact in the company that can verify. 2. Your salary reflects what you're worth. A company doesn't want to pay you what you're worth, they want to pay you what you'll accept, and they hope you'll accept something low. Companies try to reduce costs. Never forget, you are a cost. To reduce their cost, the best person to be in a salary negotiation with is someone who doesn't know or isn't confident in their own worth. So, if you'll take $50,000 for a job, when they might be willing to pay $100,000, you're now an underpaid worker. But for the company, it's like getting a great deal at the Macy's 50% off sale. And that money you left on the table will likely go to another employee or new hire who demanded more money. Best of all, they get to demand even more work out of you and your smaller salary through overtime and demanding workloads. That's one way they can get your pay to be low. The other they use is informational asymmetry, a fancy way of saying when one party, like your employer, in an economic deal, has more or better information than you do. They know what they can pay for your position and what's really competitive. You may not have all that information. It's a trick they also use on current employees by subtly encouraging them not to share their salary and benefit details with other employees. That's not good for you, as both economists and stock market traders will tell you that prices tend to get more fair and accurate the more pricing information is transparent and available to people in the market. Quick tip. If you're a new hire, check job sites or talk to people in the same jobs to get a beat on salary expectations. Employees, don't be afraid to have that talk with other employees. And remember, you work in a marketplace of employers. Constantly test and see what you're worth with other potential employers. Even if you don't want a new job, apply and throw out an aggressive salary and see if they bite. If they do, you might be underpriced. Either way, you get better information on what the market is willing to pay you, and you'll feel more comfortable asking for more compensation. 3. Performance reviews are about performance. They're not. They're more like a scheduled gaslighting session with your boss, designed to get you to temper your expectations on salary and promotions. Tell me if you've ever heard feedback like this from your manager. Nobody here gets a 5. It's our policy. What? So, are you telling me there's no such thing as exceptional people at this company? More than likely, it's because if they said you were a 5, they'd have to pay you like one. So, giving you a 4 or even a 3 is good. Usually, that just a conversation you're having during a performance review ends with a next step of, so, we can only give you this amount. Maybe next year, okay? The other key purpose of performance reviews, to start the documentation process. If they're thinking about getting rid of you, especially if they need reasons. So, if you had previous performance reviews that were great, but suddenly they drop like a loss in airplane cabin pressure, they're likely starting their cover their rear ends process to fire you or get you to quit. And even if there are amazing comments in your performance review, sometimes it doesn't even matter. Look what happened to employees at Facebook and Microsoft early last year. Employees documented with stellar performance reviews were still fired, with the company vocally citing bad performance to the press. Quick tip: always document your successes and progress. And not just when you sense trouble. You always need to be your best promoter and advocate of yourself. And it's even better when you have the receipts in hand. 4. Severance means you're free from the company. It probably would be, except for one little thing: your employment contract. Especially in terms of non-competes, non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, and any non-disparagement clauses that might be in your contract, or a part of any severance agreement you may be asked to sign on the way out. So, while you now may not work for that employer anymore, thanks to the agreements, they won't let you go work at a similar business. You may not be able to share skills or knowledge developed at your last employer. If they sucked or were bad to you, you can't talk about it. Sounds like a lot of the rules of being at your past employer, just without the paycheck. Quick tip: read your contracts thoroughly, like you are signing a prenuptial. So, you know what to expect when you leave. 5. HR is there for you. Human resources is there to protect the company. It's not so much about giving you resources, but managing you as a resource. It's easy to forget this. Many of us have been bored watching HR leaders talk about workplace culture. Talks delivered by people who seem way too excited by the upcoming company picnic. But never forget, their main job is to protect the company from lawsuits and liability. They're just risk management professionals with motivational slogans. Don't get that, and go to HR with a complaint about your manager or a toxic coworker. HR's first thought isn't going to be, how do we help this employee? It's, how does this affect the company? And in some cases, protecting the company can mean managing you rather than the problem you reported. Quick tip: document, document, document. And if it's serious enough, contact an employee law attorney who can walk you through the steps to make sure someone who has an interest, granted possibly compensated, in you in order to make sure you're represented and protected as best as possible. Because again, the company will likely not be on your side. 6. Your workplace is a meritocracy. You've seen your manager, right? Come on. Yes, there are some amazing people at your workplace, and you will be blessed if not lucky to work for one. But sometimes the guy or woman that's good at shaking hands but can't open a PDF gets a VP role. And your first thought every day is, how did this person get this job? Bad managers can also lean on you way too much in order to keep their incompetency from being outed and, in the process, burn you out. Quick tip: if you aren't going anywhere with that manager, marketing good project or performance stories can move you up or even out of working with a bad manager. Solve their problems and missteps. Document them. And promote those stories. Use them to sell yourself to another manager in the company or to a new employer if a company move isn't possible. 7. A PIP is about helping you improve and grow. Nope. It's a paper trail generating process to fire you. In most cases, a performance improvement plan, or PIP, is corporate speak for, we've already decided to fire you, we just need to complete paperwork for legal. You'll occasionally survive a PIP, but rarely. The goals of the PIP are often nearly impossible to achieve, either to make you see the writing on the wall, get you to quit, or prove that you can't meet expectations. Quick tip: once you're on a PIP, start job hunting. But also, make sure your side of the story is documented so you have the receipts for a future employer. 8. Unlimited. PTO means unlimited. If unlimited means making you feel like you'll have unlimited time being unemployed if you take too much. Here's the trick: when there's no set amount, people take less time off. There's guilt, there's unclear boundaries. Studies show that employees with unlimited PTO take an average of 2 fewer days off per year than those with traditional policies. time that you should be compensated for that your employer gets to take back. Good deal. For them. Quick tip. See what reasonable standards are in your industry and their competitors, and take time off according to those standards. Be prepared to share that with your manager or HR if they ask questions. So, there you have it. 8 truths about corporate life that nobody puts in the employee handbook, written by a human and read by AI. If this helped you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content about surviving work and career. Thanks for watching.